everybody. Welcome back to another Raw Read pop up. Yes, I am popping up. Why? Because we have something to talk about. We have something to chit chat about. We have something to kiki about and lean in close and whisper and be messy about. Yes, we do. Y'all know I've been on these internet streets and I have found something that we need to be messy about. Now, I'm warning y'all ahead of time. If you don't like messy, you know what they say on TikTok? Keep scrolling. Keep scrolling because this one right here is nothing but messy. And it's about the two favorite people I love to be messy about. And that would be King Charles III and his faithful steed, his horse. Yes, yes, it is about those two. And when they were over in Italy, and what wasn't reported. I'm just saying, now this is a word on the curb. I'm going to say it right off the bat. It's a word on the curb because the squatties are talking about it. I saw a post about it. I went on people's Instagram. I couldn't find it, but their Instagram is a little confusing. So I have not saw the video in which this particular squatty is talking about, but it was just too juicy for me not to bring it to y'all. Like I said, it's the word on the curb. As long as I hadn't saw it myself, I am going to classify it as word on the curb. And y'all know when I say it's the word on the curb, I don't really have no evidence. I have heard it. I hadn't saw anything myself, but that doesn't stop us from talking about it. We're going to talk about it. That's all it is to it because it's too delicious not to. All right, y'all, I'm going to put this up, and this is what I'm talking about. This particular squatty posted this and said, just watch a People magazine video on IG showing King Charles III and his side piece in Italy, and there's people literally in the crowd chanting Diana. Yes, tell me that is not delicious for them. And I cannot tell you how many of those rags over there are reporting that this was some kind of triumphant trip for Charles and his horse. But in actuality, was it really? Was it really? Because all we saw was Charles being petulant, him fighting with his horse. And now we hear that when they were walking along, people were literally chanting Diana's name. I love it. I love it too much. And I got to put this up. This is what one of the squatties posted under this. This face right here. And I love it. I love it. So much can be said with a picture. Don't you think if it's possible Diana is somewhere with this same expression on her face? But as I think about it, this is why they got rid of her. Because it would never, ever, ever been able to be a Queen Camilla if Diana was still breathing on this earth. And that is the reason. That is the reason why she is not. My belief, I'm just saying. All right, y'all, I'm going to put up some of the stuff that the squatties was saying under this particular post. And let me tell you, it is delicious. It is delicious. This particular squatty, as you can see, I got four of them up here. The first one says, music to my ears. Mine too. Oh, I wish I could find that video because I just want to see it with my own two eyes and hear it with my own two ears because it's wonderful. They should never, ever have any peace because just think about what these two have done. Not only my belief, no evidence, I'm just saying that they got rid of Diana and then in return used her baby boy to clear the way for this horse to become queen. Why should they have peace? That's my question. Why should they have peace? They are getting everything that they deserve. The queen held on so long that they did not ascend to the throne until they were both just about ready to go down in the tombs themselves. Love it, love it, love it. Number two, that all that they did to get where they're at, they cannot enjoy it. The horse is just wandering around. Everywhere she goes, she's just wandering around, not knowing what she is doing. And he's supposed to have performative cancer. And nobody has any respect for either one of them outside of the UK. And I don't think it's anybody inside the UK except that media over there who is bound and determined to keep them propped up. But other than that, I don't think people have nothing for those two. Because let's not forget, when he first ascended to the throne, it was nothing but eggs being thrown at him and Camilla. But yet and still, all of a sudden, he got his performative cancer, and then the egg stopped. And then he got just washed clean of his racism that he exhibited towards little Archie. I'm just saying. All right, y'all, let's go to the second one. It said, I love to go shake his hand and then pull it back and ask, how will history remember you? It won't, but Diana has been dead over 20 years and still as loved today. Where is the lie? Yes, Diana has been dead going on 30 years, closer to 30 years than 20, and yet and still, Diana is just as loved. They have not been able to erase her like they're bound and determined to try to erase Elizabeth II, because we see what they do, but they have not been able to do that to Diana. And it's people who are forever bound and determined not to allow them to forget about Diana. Diana will never be forgotten, ever. And what they did to Harry will never, ever be forgotten. So these two, they get what they get, and that is not much, and it's definitely not respect. And let's go on to the next one. This one said, oh, I knew the visuals weren't good. Folks walking and talking and smoking while the UK national anthem played at Parliament before Charles spoke to almost empty. No, he didn't. Y'all know that was a big thing that he was speaking to the Italian Parliament. And they said he spoke to an almost empty room. Here on the street, two Greeks and general disinterest and distaste, but hasn't heard about cries for Diana. Too good. Yes, they didn't mention that. And we all know it is plenty of those so-called raw reporters were on the ground, but they didn't report that, did they? But it looks like people put out the video and did not edit it out that these cries was being made for Diana as these two adulterous human beings walk down the street. I love it for them. I do. I do. It is just too delicious. And this particular person said this, Diana will always be with them. No avoiding it. Where is the lie? Where is the lie? And then I'm going to put these two up. And it says, I love how Diana will haunt these two for eternity. She was the only queen we will forever recognize after Lizzie. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And these two treacherous individuals, what they did and how they did it. Y'all know Charles absolutely never gave Diana a chance. She strictly was being used in the beginning. She was. She never stood a chance in that den of vipers. She never did. And she was never meant to stand a chance. I'm just saying. And the squatters are talking a lot about what went on with Diana online today. They are. Because ever since that whole security thing with Harry and what came out of that and what didn't come out of that and what Harry insinuated happened, because we read through the lines what happened. And like I said, the squatties peeped it a long time ago that this is what they were doing. And ever since then, the squatties are really talking about what happened to Diana and how she was treated by these folks, by these two. And then they want to go out into polite society and think they're going to be accepted, that people are just going to say, okay. Every time people see Camilla, they see the adulteress. They see the scheming witch, the one that absolutely did anything and everything and earned her place on her knees. And they also see the wicked stepmother who absolutely turned a young boy's bedroom into her closet and put him in some kind of apartment downstairs. Yes, when Harry came back from school, he didn't have no room no more. He had to be downstairs because she turned that into a dressing room. This is who this person was. And then went on and succeeded in planning story after story after story after story on this young boy who was motherless because of her. I said it out loud. That's my belief. I do. And I love this for them. And one squatty was saying, I just hope, it's my wish that she would come to America because over here, this is Diana's country. And she come over here. Now, I said in my last pop-up that I would not go. If they were in my town, that I would not even go over there to see them. But I might change that because if she showed up, I might absolutely go over there just to scream Diana's name. I might just do it because, like I said, it's not like it is undeserved. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I'm gonna put a picture of Diana up, and I want to play something for y'all. It's 2 minutes, I think, and 42 seconds, but it is worth it. I know that's a little long. Usually, I try to keep my little sound bites like a minute or so, but this is so important. And when it finished, we're gonna come back on the other end and discuss.
When I arrived at Karen's house, there was a letter on my bed from Camilla, dated 2 days previous, saying such exciting news about the engagement. Do let's have lunch soon when Prince Wales goes to Australia and New Zealand. And love to see the ring. Lots of love, Camilla. And that was, wow. You may recall seeing a picture of me sobbing in a red coat when he went off on his aeroplane. That was nothing to do with him going. The most awful thing had happened before he went. I was in his study talking to him about his trip. Telephone rang, it was coming off just before he was going for 5 weeks. So I thought, shall I be nice or shall I just sit here? So I thought it'd be nice, so I left them to it. And it just broke my heart about it. So I organised lunch. We had lunch. And very tricky indeed. She said, you're not going to hunt, are you? I said, no. I just wanted to know that. But as far as she was concerned, that was her communication. I was still too immature to understand all the messages coming my way. And then someone in his office told me that my husband had a bracelet made for her. I walked into this man's office one day and I said, oh, what's in that parcel? Oh, he said, you shouldn't look at that. I said, well, I'm going to look at it. So I opened it and there was a bracelet. I was devastated. And he said, well, he's going to give it to her tonight. So rage, why can't you be honest with me? But no, absolutely cut me dead. It's as if he'd made a decision, if it wasn't going to work, it wasn't going to work. He found the virgin, sacrificial lamb, and in a way he was obsessed with me, but it's hot and cold, hot and cold. You never knew what mood it was going to be. Up and down, up and down. I went upstairs, had lunch with my sisters who were there, and I said, I can't marry him. I can't do this. This is absolutely unbelievable. And they were wonderful and said, well, bad luck, Dutch. Your face is on the tea towel, so you're too late to chicken out.
Two young and loving and happy faces are, in their own very individual way, putting a smile back into a broken-hearted, miserable Britain.
And that right there tells you the story. This is who Charles is. This is who Camilla is. And that is the reason why they deserve all of our disrespect. Because they have done nothing but be the most two selfish individuals that God ever put on this earth. They used that young girl, 19-year-old girl, and then tossed her away. He did that. And then he wants people to respect his horse as queen. Well, people are not going to do that. Everywhere they go, they're going to be reminded of who they are. Now, they might not like that, but that is the way it is, and that is what they have earned. And I love it that the people of Italy served up nothing but disrespect when it comes to those two. I mean, can you believe that they have the audacity to expect anything more after doing what they did to that young girl? And then turn around and try to destroy Diana's baby boy. Still trying to do it. She had no qualms in feeding that small child who had lost his mother, I think, due to their plots and their plans. She had the nerve to say, I'm going to take him, I'm going to use him, I'm going to abuse him, I am going to wreck everything that is him. Harry was falling out of clubs, Harry was using drugs, Harry was searching for some love, and it was none in that family. None for him. All he was just seen as a spare part, the spare, as a spare part, something to be used when needed. I'm just saying. And let's look at the second one. It says, I think wherever in the world they go, Diana's fans will haunt them. I just said that. I would actually go to scream Diana's name. Now, other than that, anybody else show up? Nope, not going. But if those two showed up in America and went on a walkabout, I'd be like, Diana, because I'm messy that way. It goes on to say, let me just reread it. It says, I think wherever they go in the world, Diana's fans will haunt them. Camilla Parker Bowles will always be the mistress and King Charles the adulteress. Where is the lie? Where is it? Where is the lie? And like this one said, imagine if those two losers visited the USA where Diana is loved. I just said that. This is Diana's country up here. Yes, we loved her here. Even though some of us wasn't even born when she first came over here, a lot of people not. But you best believe that they know about Diana. When you want to bring your horse and present them as queen, and people are going to call for Diana because we could just think about what a beautiful queen she would have been. Oh, but this particular one said, this made my day. Me too. Me too. Oh, and y'all, this particular person is one of the only ones under this post that I saw that was taken up for Charles and his horse. And let me tell you, when they took up for them, they got ate up. I'm going to put it up. This particular person who took up for them said this. Somebody ought to tell the people who are shouting that she is dead and has been for 25 years. Well, the ones that came under it, and this is just an example of some of the ones that came under it because they ate her up. Let me tell you, it says, and still more relevant than these two hags. Yes, she is. Because you can go anywhere in the world and say Princess Diana, but go somewhere and say Camilla. Go somewhere. They would say that adulteress that ascended to the throne, that her? Yes, that one, the one that wanders around and don't know where she's at. I mean, just looking around, trying to look up under tables, looking under a shoe, can't find what direction she's supposed to go. That one, yes. And this one said, in your world, maybe. And then the next one said, millions of others to be exact, based on the ugly, you know what, being jeered at. People was not playing with them in this particular case. They was not. And it was so funny. And I loved every minute of it. Like I said, this woman deserves all the disrespect. And so does he because we have saw what he has done. And if this monarchy falls, it's going to be really his fault because he brought that woman in. First of all, his first mistake was bringing this young girl in and using her because we all know that he never intended on having a legitimate marriage with Diana in the first place. I'm going to put this up. And this particular squatty said this. This is a repost. And what she's reposting is something that Penny Jr. said. And if you know anything about that monarchy over there, if you're an old school squatty and know all the players in the game, you know who Penny Jr. is. And sometimes she's on GB News sometimes, and then sometimes she'll even be in a lot of different documentaries, but she is one that is close to Charles and Camilla. Always have been. When Diana was walking this earth, she did nothing but torment her. She was one of the flying monkeys that attacked Diana. So when she says something, you best believe she knows what she's talking about. So she wrote a book, and this is an excerpt of that book. And it says Camilla Parker Bowles is probably the most wrong and misunderstood woman I have ever met. Yes, this is what I'm saying. She's one of those flying monkeys that attacked Diana. And listen to what she said. Diana chose to make false claims about her, and that mud stuck. You know, Diana hadn't made any false statements about this woman. This woman is who she says she is. And then she goes right on to say this. She said that Camilla and Charles had made love on the night before the royal wedding. That simply is not true. It was at lunchtime and only a BJ at that. She really thought that was her taking up for Camilla. Now you gonna give somebody a BJ before their wedding to their bride, and you are saying that you feel like Camilla Parker Bowles have been wronged and she did that? This is who they are dealing with. This is who Charles chose to make his queen. I kid you not. And like I said, if you're old school squatty, you know exactly who Penny Juniper is. Yes, and she said this. So she was trying to make Diana look bad, saying that Charles had made love to Camilla the night before they got married. But no, it wasn't that. No, it was a BJ. That makes it better in these people's fevered mind. This is what Diana had to deal with. This is what Harry continues to have to deal with. These people will make excuses for that family, and that is the reason that family is such a awful bunch of vipers. They are. That's why they're lizard people, because it's so many sycophants around them willing to make excuses, willing to lick the boots. I'm just saying. And this particular squatty reposted that and said this. This was, she posted this for their anniversary, and she said, "Happy Side Piece Victory Day, aka the day King Charles the Cruel took next to him the woman who kneeled before him and hollowed and swallowed that afternoon before his wedding to another." Y'all, I love it. It is so messy and I love it. Yes, call him out. We are not going to ever forget your antics, and we will never forget how you treated Diana. And I love that people continue to call you out and show nothing but disrespect with their full chest when it comes to you. I love that. I'm just saying. And this squatter right here is after my heart. I want to be her friend. And this particular squatty said this because she had read Diana's book. And it said, "Finished the rest of Diana's biography and not ashamed to say I cried. Just like Harry, she was fed to the wolves, demonized and villainized. It's easy to forget that the same British media who sang the praises after her death led the smear campaign against her and made her life hell." Where is the lie? That's the reason Harry is fighting so hard. That is the reason why Harry made Murdoch apologize to his mother, because he knew it wasn't just him, it was her too. And they should be ashamed of themselves. They constantly doing the same thing. I hear them say all the time, "Did you learn anything from Diana? Was anything learned from Diana?" No, it wasn't, except how to be successful at destroying someone. That's what they learned because they have tried it on Megan and almost succeeded, because Megan was on the verge of unaliving herself. She couldn't even trust herself to be home alone. So, no, they hadn't learned anything, but they will learn, because at this time, this is a whole different time and space. Diana didn't have social media. She didn't have people that supported her and was able to absolutely speak out on her behalf and fight for her. She didn't have that. But Harry and Meghan does. And that is the reason why they have survived. And that is the reason why we continue. Because if we stop, they are not going to stop. So that is the reason why I said I won't stop until they stop. If they want us to stop, they need to stop. But we all know that is impossible for them to do. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I'm going to put this last one up. And y'all know I have to be messy at the end, too. It says the face that won the English crown. Yes, this is their queen. They could have had Diana if not for the sick, twisted mind of that monarchy over there that could not see the potential, that could not see that it's not all about one person, it is about the whole. Because the whole of the monarchy would have won with Diana the same way it would have won with Meghan and Harry. But they can't see it that way. They would rather rule over a pile of rubble than to rule a vast empire, because they cannot see past their nose that it's not about one person, the sovereign. is about the family. The people love the family dynamics. And when you present yourself as a family, but in actuality, you're just a nest of snakes, then you're not going to win over the people. The people do not want that. They don't. They want to see love, caring, the whole dynamics of the family. It's my understanding that that is what the royal family is supposed to be about. It's supposed to set an example in family life for the people of Great Britain. Can you imagine them being an example of family? The ideal family? These vipers, these snakes, these scorpions that could not accept the goodness in Diana and the goodness in Harry and Meghan. We saw it in real time, them rejecting them, not because they did anything, but because they were good. And that is the reason why I said this too will fall. This monarchy will, because of their choices. William is just like his father. He rather rule over a pile of rubble instead of a thriving empire. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I am gonna go. I am probably not gonna do a read today. I know I promised I was, but tomorrow is tax day. I have forgot all about it. And guess who have not done her taxes yet? So I got to get all that together, but I promise, I will be back on schedule on Tuesday. And happy tax day. I hope you got your taxes done. I hope you're not like me. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all a little later. Bye.